of meeting Bill when we were in college. And we met back in 1964 when I was a sophomore and he was a junior, and we played in a tournament down at the University of Miami. And he was an All-American at Princeton. I was an All-American at Syracuse. There was a guy who was an All-American at Miami by the name of Rick Barry. And Army was the other team that played, and they had an All-American by the name of Mike Silliman. So we had 4 teams, and each one of us had an All-American player. And Bill, needless to say, was at that time the most outstanding college player in the country. And I had one guy on my team who was from New York. And in this particular game, was Bill, an up-and-coming guy against the great Bill Bradley. So we played in the first game, and Bill had his lowest scoring game that he had achieved in college. I think he got like 16 points in the game, 18 points in the game, and it was like we did this tremendous job on bottling him up so that he didn't average his 30-plus points a game. What the newspapers failed to say is that he fouled out with 19 minutes to go in the game. But the newspapers made a real big thing about this. And it was unfortunate because the following year, his senior year, we played in New York City in a tournament, in a Christmas tournament. And it was like, Syracuse is going to play against Princeton again. And remember, Syracuse held him to his collegiate low. And the guy on my team that was responsible for guarding Bill was really cocky and said, yeah, I stopped him, I did this, I did that. Well, when we look back now, we talk about this guy and say, well, what did you hold him to the second time? It was 42 points. They beat us pretty bad, but I'll tell you, I am so happy and pleased that he's here. He's a guy from not just the NBA, but any sporting and athletic background and all, to have achieved what he has achieved is a tremendous a pleasure for me to have him as friend, and a tremendous asset to have him come and say a few words to us this afternoon. Bill Bradley.
Thank you very much, Dave. It's great to know that you remember both of those games. I want to tell you what a great pleasure it is for me to speak at this $2,000 head fundraiser. It is $2,000 head fundraiser.
Absolutely.
Well, if you haven't made that number yet, you got 3 days, and reach down into your conscience and think about it. I know Kevin left. That's too bad. He's got to learn that when he takes those shots, that somebody's got the microphone last. That's very dangerous. But I'm really pleased to see him as the mayor of Sacramento, and I feel privileged to be here today. Dave recalled some of the old days. And, I'll get to that in just a minute, but let me begin by telling you a story from one of the times in the pros that was relevant to this Merrill race. I was with the New York Knicks in about my 3rd or 4th year. We played the Boston Celtics back-to-back, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. And we lost both games. And the following week, I got a letter from a fan. And the letter said, Bradley, if you lose one more game for the Boston Celtics, I'm going to come to your house and kill your dog. The guy signed his name. Joe Pell. I don't know, maybe because he signed his name. I wrote back to him and I said, Dear Joe Pell, look, we don't like to lose any more than you do. We're doing the best we can. And by the way, I don't have a dog. About 3 weeks later, A UPS truck pulled up in front of our house. The guy gets out of the UPS truck, he's carrying this big box, he puts it down on my front steps. My wife looks outside and comes to me and says, "Hey Bill, what is this box out there with a dog in it?" And I look outside, and sure enough, inside the box is a dog. On the outside of the box is an envelope. On the outside of the envelope, it says, "From Joe Pell." And I open the envelope and it says on the note inside, "Bradley, don't get too attached to this dog." So I would say in the same spirit, Mr. Cockrell, don't get too attached to your job. Dave mentioned, I was thinking this when I was driving, when I was flying out here today, Dave. I've known you longer than anybody in this room has known you. I've known you 45 years. Not only were those the games, but the summers in Washington, D.C., one-on-one. You know, you get to know somebody pretty well when you play them one-on-one. Because you know how badly they want to win and what they do when they lose and how they play. And so that was the beginning of a friendship that lasts